What's up, YouTube? We are back for part 3 of B.J.Penn, a career retrospective. We last left off with B.J.Penn losing to GSP for a second time. After that, he returned to lightweight. He would go on to have a submission win over Kenny Florian and a TKO win over Diego Sanchez. During Penn's reign as 155-pound champion, he was getting trained by the Marinovich brothers, and he actually looked quite good when it came to his conditioning. It was clearly visible in his fights that he didn't gas out anymore. However, he didn't like the way they pushed him in training, so they parted ways. In my opinion, that was a big mistake on his part. Penn would go on to lose his title to Frankie Edgar in a close decision, which a lot of people thought he won. Therefore, he got an immediate title shot. This time, Frankie won pretty easily, by decision. I think Penn wasn't focused anymore and not trained the way he should. He should never have lost to Frankie. He's the better fighter. In the rematch, he looked so off and got taken down by Frankie pretty easily. Penn has always been hard to take down, so it was out of character. Penn would return to welterweight, winning the trilogy against Hughes by KO in 21 seconds. Next fight was against John Fitch, which went to a draw. If you are familiar with Fitch, he was a hard guy to deal with because he just went in there to win by lay and pray. He was the most boring guy ever. He was the bigger guy too, so he had the size advantage. Next, Penn would go on to lose his next 7 fights in a row to increasingly lower competition. His next fight was against Nick Diaz. It was a fun fight, but it was kind of one-sided. Penn just looked like not himself. He took a lot of punches from Diaz and lost the decision. His next fight was against a prime Rory McDonald, which Penn lost by decision too. I remember Rory was being so annoying in that fight. He was showboating during the fight, doing some sort of lame attempt at an alley shuffle, but he was doing it against a washed-up Penn, so it was just insulting. Plus, if he wanted to really show off, he should have finished Penn, but he couldn't. After that loss, Penn made the bad decision to move down to featherweight, a weight class he had never fought in, and would have to drain himself to make the weight. I think he was just desperate for a win at this point, but ironically, that guaranteed him losing. He would get finished by TKO by Frankie in their third fight, which goes to show how weight drained he was since Frankie couldn't do it before. Penn would also go on to lose his next fight against Yair Rodriguez. It was a sad sight to see a once great champ get beaten by someone he could have easily beaten when he was in his prime. I still remember Yair throwing sloppy wild kicks and actually landing them on a stationary Penn. He lost by TKO. To summarize Penn's career, it was okay. He did enough to secure some sort of legacy because of his achievement of getting titles in 2 weight classes. However, I truly believe he underperformed in his career. It could have gone so much better by having more discipline and not fighting out of his natural weight class of 155 pounds. He could have broken many records, including most title defenses, instead of having tarnished his legacy by losing so much. He would have been seen as one of the best pound-for-pound champions, and most people would be saying he's the greatest lightweight champion ever. You have to agree, for a 155-pounder to hold his own against so many welterweights, the guy was really gifted. Most lightweights would get embarrassed fighting the opposition he did. Even the greatly regarded Khabib, how do you think he would do fighting GSP twice, Rory McDonald, Leo Machida, and Matt Hughes 3 times? I'm sure he would have lost those fights too. The only one he would stand a chance against is Hughes. Penn was so talented, but terribly inconsistent. Sometimes fighters are too tough for their own good, so they take fights they have no business taking. What Penn needed was better management of his career and to have the discipline necessary of a champion. He was able to accomplish so much regardless of those flaws. He should have never fought above 155. If he hadn't taken those fights in his prime, his record would look a lot better. He would only have lost to Pulver instead of racking up several losses on his record. He would be in the pound-for-pound discussion by most people. The 7 straight losses he had, during that time he no longer had it. He was shot-born. In a desperate attempt to revive his career, he went down to 145 pounds. Even if he was more disciplined at that point, it was too late. He was old, and at that weight, he was completely drained. I don't know who allowed him to do such a dumb move. He lost to a guy who he would have destroyed his prime. Again, by that point, he should be retired and he would have avoided having 7 additional losses on his fight record. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Is Penn underrated due to his losses? If you like the content, like and subscribe. Thanks.